Welcome back to our Steven. I'm your host, Steven, and last time I checked, still certified not the jerk. Today, from daycare problems to stealing from the homeless, we get to the bottom of whether or not these people are jerks. Starting with this story titled, Am I the jerk for disinviting a friend to my birthday after she showed me the food she was bringing? So basically I, 17-year-old female, am having my 18th at my house. It's just a dinner with my closest friends. I told everyone that they may bring food if they like, but I'm going to do a little cooking like some barbecue food, and then ordering pizza. My guy friend, Ryan, asked if he can bring a mutual friend we have, Emily, since they're dating now. I told him yeah, sure, because he was going to leave early anyway. Emily offered to make food, and I told her that would be really nice, but she didn't have to. She insisted. I made a group chat of people coming, and I invited Emily to it. I sent a message talking about when to come, to wear whatever. An important thing in the message was about allergies. I have a friend coming with a really serious nut allergy. I've never seen them have a reaction, but I've been told it gets pretty bad. I wrote in the message to triple check that your food doesn't have nuts and to be aware of cross-contaminating. Everyone read the message, some replied. Emily did a thumbs up on the message. Last night, me and Emily were talking and she mentioned the food she made. I told her to show me a picture and it was a cake. The cake looked like something my mom had made before and it contained nuts. I asked if it had nuts and she said yes, but not a lot and my friend could just not eat the cake. I told her I would rather she just didn't bring it. She then got mad and said she'd gone through the trouble of making the cake, so she's bringing it or she isn't coming. I told her then she's not coming because I was clear about my friend's allergy and even cross-contaminating was asked to be checked. So why would I allow her to bring a whole cake? She said it was disrespectful to disinvite her and that she's Ryan's girlfriend. If he's going, she's going. I told her no, it's my party and I didn't want her there anymore because she was acting like a child. She stopped texting me, but then I got a call from Ryan saying I was being a massive jerk and that she spent ages on the cake. I said, I don't care if it took her 2 whole weeks to make the dang cake. I was specific from the beginning on what you could bring and couldn't. The only thing you couldn't bring was something with nuts. The parts where I'm talking to these two is where I may be the jerk. I asked if she's incompetent of reading and comprehension and if she really doesn't know any other cake recipe. He said I was being a jerk and hung up on me. Ryan is telling everyone him and Emily are not attending because I called them names and rejected Emily's cake. A lot of friends, mostly ones not coming to the party, are saying it was slack to let her make something and then uninvite her because of what she made and that she put effort in that cake for my birthday. There's only 3 people saying that I'm not the jerk, and one of them is my friend with the nut allergy. My party is tomorrow, and I kind of want perspective on this before then. Am I the jerk? Edit. The cake is something like a spongy cake, but it's not an actual birthday cake with frosting. I really don't know how to explain it, but it's seen as more a treat cake where I live, if that makes any sense at all. Second edit, 3 things. I'm a girl, guys. The friend with the allergy is a guy. Also, the comments calling my post fake are boring at this point. I'm not responding to heaps of comments because there's more than 1,000 of them. Boo-hoo to the guy cussing me out in the comments because my name is Cupcake Lad, and so that has to mean that my stories are fake because I'm a boy. I'm Australian also, so at least where I live, lad is a common term, and I use it in a joking way and to address, this is gonna sound crazy, guys and girls, whoa. And lastly, I did thank her before she made the cake when she told me she was going to bring one. I said it was really sweet and thanked her for bringing a cake or thinking to make one for me. I'm responding to some comments, but obviously I didn't expect this post to blow up like it did, so it might take me a while. I'm trying to read as much as I can. Third, guys, please look up allergies that can be airborne before you comment. It's not propaganda or being sensitive. I'm not gonna debate whether my friend's allergies are really that serious. The point of the post was asking if I was the jerk for what I called her and disinviting her. If you read the title, I wasn't asking for your opinion or medical advice regarding the allergy. Seriously guys, Google is extremely free and easy to use. Also, thank you for all the birthday wishes. I think what annoys me the most here is the fact that OP said, all of these friends that aren't coming to my party are saying I'm the jerk. Is this just one of those situations where they were fed some drivel by Ryan and Emily that were like, I went to the extent of making a cake for OP, they led me on. Then they just told me not to show up at all. Because if not, I cannot understand how OP had multiple, apparently, friends who said that OP is the jerk. If I had to stamp a judgment on this one, I would say safely not the jerk. Neffel Smith left a comment on the post saying, don't bring anything with nuts. Okay, I'm bringing a cake with nuts. Don't bring it. I'm not coming then. Okay, not the jerk. Also, by the way, it would be nuts if you like these Am I the Jerk stories to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. Our next story is, am I the jerk for sticking my freshly single mom with $20,000 of debt? I, 19-year-old male, have been paying off a car loan for my mom, 40-year-old female, since I turned 16. She gifted me a new 2022, current year, Nissan Sentra for my birthday. I foolishly never asked how much she signed for because I had assumed that her financially knowledgeable boyfriend at the time would know what he was doing at the dealership. He did not. The original MSRP for my car capped at around $20,000. Out the door they walked away with a $40,000 car loan. They put nothing down and had a 10% interest rate because my mom's credit was bad and she had no job. But even accounting that, the math never made sense to me. The payments every month was $510. I didn't care because the original deal was that me and my mom's boyfriend would split the monthly note. That lasted for all of 3 months until I was stuck paying the entire thing and have been since that day. About a year ago, I went to the bank with my mom to try to transfer the loan from her name to mine, but since the interest would be recalculated and would add about $10,000 to the loan, we both agreed to not do it. I moved out at 18 and live with a roommate, but bills have been tighter. My girlfriend's mom suggested that I look for a new car that's more in the budget, and I found a used 2025 Corolla with 10,000 miles for $18,000. A better car for cheaper than what I would be paying off of my current car. I told my mom that I was planning to get a new car and that if she wanted to sell my current car, it would be her decision, and she lost her crap, saying how it's my responsibility and that it was a gift for me, and how she saved me $10,000 by not transferring the loan. The biggest elephant is that she's freshly divorced and is looking for a job to support her 2 younger girls. I told her that she can sell the car for about $14,000 to $15,000, but she refuses and is demanding that I drain my savings to pay for a car that I never agreed to pay for and ultimately was their terrible financial decision. On one hand, I don't feel like I owe her anything and never truly got along with my mom, so it is what it is. On the other hand, I feel guilty for kicking her while she's down. Looking for unbiased opinions, thank you. I'll admit, I'm going to be trying my best to glance over the fact that OP's like, alright, I'm 18, I want to get a new car now. A used 2025 Corolla. I just gotta say it, for somebody that in this post said that the bills are tight with their roommates, why would you go for a used car that's worth $18,000? I remember my first car was a 97 Pacific Green Metallic Mercury Sable. And that thing had an on and off switch wired into the battery because if you didn't turn it off when you were done, the battery would just always drain. But it worked. It got me where it needed to. That said, ignoring the financial advice part of everything, I don't really see OP as being in the wrong if they want to relinquish this loan that they never took out, and they contributed a pretty penny to it from the sounds of it. I mean, if anything, if OP wanted to be truly fair, they should have said, you can sell it, you can probably get X amount, but I should get like at least 20% because that's how much I paid towards it. Strict Amoeba left a comment saying, bills are tight, so the solution is an $18,000 vehicle? Christ, brother, get a clunker for $5,000 and drive the wheels off of it. OP replied, very solid point, but I can afford the Corolla comfortably, and I know it's going to outlive me, so in my eyes, it's a solid decision. Tassel15 left a comment saying, that's a pretty big mistake to take on as charity. For your stage in life, $20,000 is everything. $20,000 is a lot for anyone. If it's not in your name, legally, it's not your responsibility. Morally, you never agreed to pay for it, but your past actions gave her hope you would. The OP replied to that saying, "That's why I'm conflicted. I only ever paid for it because I didn't have a choice." She never talked to me about how much I would be paying, and at the time it was my only major expense. So in my mind, it was what it was. But I appreciate your comment. God bless you. Fluffy Employee left a comment saying, "You would be the jerk. Your mom stepped out there and did a straw purchase for you to get reliable transportation at the time. The gift was her signing for it and not giving you the car outright. By dropping this on her, you're putting her in a financial predicament that could affect her ability to help your siblings in the same manner. Regardless of your opinion of the finance charges, she did the best she could with her at-the-time credit profile. I'm sure you would have said that she was the jerk if she didn't help you get the car. Suck it up and pay it off. Not going to be worth the potential fallout later. Family is all you have at the end of the day." OP replied, "No, my mom parades around like she gifted me a car. She gave me a $40,000 loan for a car that was barely ever worth half of that while I wasn't in the room of discussion with a dealership for a finance plan that revolves around me. Not to mention, the original deal was to split the costs with my stepdad, which quickly stopped. I never signed anything. It's not my car. I just pay and drive it." Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my teacher she's not allowed to give my group member a better grade? So I, 16-year-old female, am in a group project class. We were in groups of 3, and I was paired with Lana, 16-year-old female, and Ian, 16-year-old male. We had a week to make a presentation. I did the research, wrote most of the scripts, and put together the slides. Lana showed up once and gave me a few printed pictures for a presentation. That's the only time she helped. Then she spent the rest of the week not doing anything. Ian helped a bit, but not much. We all presented, and the teacher said we all did a good job. Then she graded us. We use a different grade system. Lana got a 10 out of 10, Ian got a 9 out of 10, and I got a 7 out of 10. I got upset and asked the teacher the reason that she gave me the lowest grade. All she said was that Lana was more confident during the presentation, and Ian helped with the visuals. I said that I did 90% of the work and that it wasn't fair. She then said that the grades are based on presentation, not effort. The teacher looked annoyed and said she graded fairly and I shouldn't be upset with her grading based on how active we were during a presentation. Now, my teacher is telling my parents that I was rude and disrespectful and that I'm acting like I'm entitled. Lana said that I was being too much and I should have just asked nicely. I feel like I'm not the problem. If I worked the hardest, I should have gotten the grade I deserved. Am I the jerk? Edit, the teacher never explained whether the grade was based on the presentation or on effort. I did present, but I wasn't as active as the others during it. I didn't mention it earlier because I assumed the group would be graded as a whole, and since this is a new teacher, I had no idea how she graded homework. I just felt like my effort wasn't reflected in the grade, and I probably handled it in the most terrible way possible, but I still think the grading system is unfair, and that teacher should have at least acknowledged the time I put in this project. I got more upset when she mentioned that result mattered more than the effort, which made no sense to me at all. So, kind of like OP described, I feel like the only way it almost makes sense is if it's part of the grading rubric. But because this teacher wasn't forthcoming about that, obviously I think it's unfair that somebody who did 90% of the work is the one that got the lowest grade. I doubt a reasonable conversation with that teacher is possible, but if it were, I would love to understand how she's essentially promoting the tactic of absolutely sandbagging the group project and then just strutting like a peacock when the presentation time comes. Apparently in that class, as long as you've got a little bit of natural Ryan Seacrest or something in you, you'll just ace the whole thing. Panic Bread left a comment saying, "You're not wrong for being upset, and you're not wrong for expressing it, but you are wrong for how you expressed it. You should have kindly gone to the teacher and told her what happened and asked for a higher grade based on what transpired. You also should have held the other two accountable in the course of doing the project and told the teacher ahead of time if your group mates weren't helping with the presentation. Live and learn, you are the jerk." OP replied to that saying, "I guess that's on me. I'm planning to talk to the teacher on Monday after school." Our next story is, am I the jerk for snapping at my uncle after he kept calling me a girl because of my hair? I'm 19-year-old male and I have long curly hair. I've been growing it out for a few years and I take care of it. I use conditioner and I have leave-ins and curl creams for when I need a little bit more styling as well. The brand I use has a little silhouette of a woman on it and it is technically for women. Last week, my girlfriend had a really stressful week, so I cooked her dinner. My parents wouldn't be coming home till late, so I set up candles, wrote her a card, and tried to make it nice with flowers and stuff. As I was setting up, my uncle, 52, comes into the room. For context, he is bald and divorced, and currently living with us. He looked around at the candles and said, "This looks like something a girl would set up." I didn't really respond, but he followed it with, "You do a lot of girly stuff for a guy." He then said, "With all that girly hair stuff too, you're really selling it." I told him to back off, and he laughed and said, "Relax, don't be so sensitive." While I was setting up, he kept making small comments like, "Careful, don't break a nail," and would just randomly talk about the fact that I was cooking for her and how girly that was. And I kept telling him that he was real funny and making it clear I was annoyed. It started really getting on my nerves and said, "Why the freak would I take relationship advice from you? And you can't talk about my hair when you're literally freaking bald." He got all up in my face, got ticked immediately, and said that I crossed a line bringing up his divorce and that I was being disrespectful. And we both got in each other's faces, and he was saying some stuff about not disrespecting him, and he eventually left the kitchen. Later, my mom talked to me and she said that she gets why I was upset, but thinks I should apologize because he's already embarrassed about his situation and I didn't need to make it personal, and that she didn't want us to have issues, and I'm starting to think maybe I crossed a line and went too deep. So, in my opinion, not only do I think OP is not the jerk, I think they don't even owe them an apology at all. But I would say, just for the sake of trying to lower the temperature, because I'm assuming you're still going to be staying together in the same place for a while, I would say OP should apologize, but with the caveat of saying, let's just try not getting personal on either end. You said some things that got me worked up, I said some hurtful things in return. We don't even really have to chat to each other. You can have your opinions about me, just don't float them my way. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not taking my niece at daycare because my sister-in-law didn't follow the policy? I, 31-year-old female, am a home daycare provider. My sister-in-law, Jenny, 29-year-old female, recently enrolled my infant niece, Pearl, in my daycare. I love having Pearl here and being a part of her development. I have a policy with diapers. I notify the parents when there's 20 or less diapers in their kid's supply. I communicate this verbally at pickup and through email and text reminders. If they get down to 5 left at the start of a day and the parent still hasn't brought any, their little one isn't allowed to come until they've brought some. Jenny was told multiple times recently that Pearl's supply was getting low, and her response was always, "Oops, I'll bring more tomorrow." But then she wouldn't do it. On Monday night, I sent her a text reminding her to bring diapers and that I wouldn't be able to have Pearl here if she didn't have them. Naturally, Jenny shows up on Tuesday morning empty-handed. Again with the "I forgot." I reminded her of the policy, no diapers, no daycare. She got all mad about how Pearl is my niece and I can't just turn her away. Can't I break the rules just this once, and that I have no idea how busy her life is and that moms forget things sometimes? I told Jenny that she needs to follow the same rules as everyone else, and she said that I should find room in my heart for exceptions. Am I the jerk for not taking my niece at daycare because my sister-in-law didn't follow the policy? First of all, it sounds like this is a very kind of professional operation that OP's doing. So I especially respect OP for not bending the rules to accompany their family. I do think though that I wouldn't necessarily disagree if somebody felt, well, they are family, give them one free pass, see if they'll make up for it later with the diapers. If they don't, then you have a problem or something like that. But I also don't fault with the very sound logic of give an inch, take a mile. Our next story is, am I the jerk for using the baby name my sister-in-law wants to use? My husband and I, mid-30s, are expecting baby number 2. We have a 2-year-old son already and are expecting a daughter. My sister-in-law, husband's sister, has a 3-month-old daughter and is not planning on trying for another baby for a few years. We've been honest about the baby names we like when asked, and our top baby name currently is a pretty popular name. Top 10 and has been in the top 100 for a long time. My sister-in-law told us last week that our top name is the girl's name that she's always loved and planned to use for her future daughter. My husband asked her why she didn't already use the name, since she already has a daughter, and she said that her husband picked her daughter's name. Not sure if this is true, but the name we've picked is the name she's always wanted to use. She's asking us to pick any other name from our list and save this one for her. She has no emotional connection to the name at all. It's not a family name on her side or her husband's side. However, it was my great-grandmother's name. We didn't pick it for that reason, and my great-grandmother died before I was born, but when we told my mom the name, she got emotional because it was her grandmother's name. I thought that was special, so that's one push for us to want to use it over the others we've liked. Our other reservation to saving the name for her, she doesn't know if she ever will have another daughter, so it seems silly to save it. If she was currently pregnant with a girl, I would maybe be a bit more receptive to a conversation about this. She's been making a lot of noise about this to other family members, and we've gotten calls from my in-laws and my husband's aunt giving us other name suggestions and trying to get us to pick something else. My husband is adamant that we're not changing our minds and doubling down. That's the name, which we haven't even fully 100% decided. It was just a strong front-runner, but hearing all the noise from family, I'm starting to feel guilty. So I'm wondering, am I the jerk if I use the name? Truly regret ever sharing our list with anyone at this point. I think OP's instincts are pretty on here. If they came to OP and they were pregnant and they were expecting, and they said, listen, I've had my eye on that name for years, please, can I have it? That would be a conversation. But they love the name, no special claim or tie to it, and they don't even know if said theoretical baby girl would ever exist. What more to it is there? It kind of feels like the family's just playing favorites at that point, saying, no, let her have that one, pick another one, OP. Marivel1 commented, was the name on your radar before she told you? How much do you value your relationship with her? From the info provided, it doesn't sound like the name was under consideration until she mentioned it, and using it now would be fraud and rather rude. Sister-in-law won't be taking you into her confidence ever again. OP replied to that comment saying, she asked me what names we were considering, and I screenshotted her our list from my notes app, and that's what started this whole thing. I truly can't remember her ever mentioning this name when she was pregnant with her daughter. Her husband is Italian, and all the names my husband and I can remember them sharing were all Italian names. This name isn't Italian, so I'm surprised it's even on her radar, let alone a top name. Meanfall asked OP, what's the name? OP replied, Emma, it's such a simple basic name, which is why I love it. I'm surprised it's causing this much drama. Our next story is, am I the jerk? Friend says I'm stealing from the homeless? I posted a haul from the food pantry because I was genuinely excited to finally have food. I had an interview with them and was accepted for 1 meal a day and 1 grocery pickup a week. A friend of mine is upset and says I'm stealing from the homeless. We don't even talk often. For context, my boyfriend and I make about $1,900 a month combined. Our rent alone is $1,400. That's not including car insurance, gas, utilities, or anything else. By the end of the month, we're left with pennies just trying to survive. I'm 23, and somehow my friends think I'm doing something wrong because I don't ask my parents or my wealthy grandparents for food. I have asked before, but I'm not comfortable having to ask every single week just to eat. I don't understand how being relieved and excited about finally having access to food while I'm struggling financially makes me a bad person. I'm actively trying to find a second job, and my boyfriend is too. I'm trying to figure it out on my own. Food is a basic necessity. We shouldn't have to panic about eating. So how am I wrong here? Am I really stealing from the homeless? Or am I just someone who needs help right now? Conflicted. I do think it's fairly important to kind of understand they had an interview with them. They approved them for the meal a day and the 1 grocery pickup. I'm thinking what went down here was probably more of a communication misread or communication issue. I mean, even OP calling it a haul. I think it's obvious that OP didn't mean it like that, but it could kind of read as like, check out this sick deal I got. Acrobatic Key left a comment saying, not the jerk, but you do need to make sure that you start thinking things through before you act. A haul is a show of capitalistic abundance. So by sharing your food bank haul, you've inadvertently likened it to a shopping spree. And it certainly isn't that. At 23, you get a bit of a pass. But you're also well enough into adulthood that what you did is rather cringe and you ought to have known better. Full stop, I am glad you are fed. You qualify for those resources and you should absolutely use them. However, it sounds like you were raised with privilege and you need to unlearn some of that so you don't do more harm than good when speaking publicly about using said services. Edited to add, the posting is cringe, not going to the food bank. Food banks are awesome and keep humans alive. Those I'm all for. My issue is with posting hauls of every dang thing, especially a food bank haul without context or activism. OP replied to that comment saying, I see how that can be perceived, but when I was doing the haul, I was just so excited I had food and wanted to show and raise awareness. I didn't think further than that. I get people can perceive it wrongly, as all things. Just wasn't expecting such a bad reaction from my friend. Our next story is, am I the jerk for leaving the house to stay with my boyfriend after my sister forced me to take care of her child? Me, 20-year-old female, and I do not like kids. I never have. I do not enjoy taking care of them, playing with them, or being responsible for them. I have always been clear about this with my family. My sister, 31-year-old female, has a daughter, 5 months old. I love her, but loving someone does not mean I want to be a caregiver to the most thing I hate. A few months ago, my sister started asking me to help her with her daughter. At first, it was a small thing, watching her for an hour, staying with her while my sister ran errands. I didn't love it, but I agreed because I felt pressured. Slowly, it turned into more and more. I was expected to babysit multiple days a week for hours. I had to feed her, play with her, help her shower, and put her to sleep. My sister never asked any more. She just assumed I would do it and yell at me when I don't. Whenever I tried to say no, she would say things like, "You're young. You have free time. You live at home anyway." Or she would guilt me by saying that she's family and I should help and blame me. I felt trapped and exhausted even though I hated every minute of it. I still did it because every time I complained, my family told me I was selfish, and I felt that I was one. Recently, I told everyone that I'd planned a trip with my friends. It was already paid for and planned weeks in advance. I was excited because it was the first time in a long while I felt like I had something for myself. My sister immediately got angry. She said, "What am I supposed to do with my daughter?" Then I reminded her that I never agreed to be her full-time babysitter. She exploded and said I was abandoning her and being irresponsible, like it's my baby and not hers. She told me that I should cancel my trip and take care of my niece instead. So I immediately said no. That turned into a huge argument. She called me names including the B word and said I was immature and heartless. My parents, of course, sided with her and said I should step up and help my sister. I felt overwhelmed and honestly that I would really snap at them if I stayed, so I packed a bag and left the house to stay with my boyfriend for a few days. Now they're furious. They say that I ran away from responsibility and that I chose my boyfriend and friends over my own family. My sister says that I betrayed her and that she cannot rely on me anymore. I feel guilty for my niece and I feel like I am the bad one. So, am I the jerk? Update. Hey, so I actually did go on the trip. Everyone had fun about my sister. She's not talking to me at all, like she's so annoying, which I'm so happy about. Not gonna lie, it's more calm like this and she started to care about her child. I'm still at my boyfriend's house until I calm down more because I still feel like I might really kick her if I saw her. About my parents, they kind of stand with me, but are still saying that I'm wrong. It's literally somebody else's kid. If you can't take a vacation because it's inconvenient for somebody else and their kid, family or not, there's some real problems going on. It takes a village and all that, but it's not fair when OP is expected to be the village. I'm glad OP went on that vacation and got to live a little bit more of their own life. Certain Drop left a comment saying, where is her husband / the father of the child? Not the jerk. Your sister asks if she feels like she ruined her life with kids and is taking it out on you because you don't have kids. It's one thing if she has to work and can't find arrangements for the time being, but it's another to expect free childcare anytime you feel like it. She had that baby, not you. She needs to pay you for your time or hire someone. Why don't your parents help out and babysit, since they see nothing wrong with a family member giving free childcare? I'm sure they have nothing to do if they have the energy to come at you about how you use your free time. OP replied to the comment saying, I didn't mention the father of the child actually there because he was like the kind of person who's like, anything his wife wants, he's okay with it, so he's at her side actually. Unlike the father of the child though, I'm not going to choose a side. Well, actually I am on OP's side, but still, if you really want to pick a side, on the left side of the video is another crazy Am I the Jerk Here video. Or if you missed my latest video and you want to pick the other side, on the right side is my latest video. If you pick a side, I won't hold it against you. But with that being said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.